The Haribon Foundation is the country's pioneer environmental organization. Hatched in 1972, it was established as a birdwatching society, which then grew in number and gave birth to the environmental movement in the country. For the last 45 years, Haribon has stood up to the challenge of maintaining the integrity of our environment by building constituencies, empowering communities, and applying multidisciplinary research. Haribon endeavors to transform every Filipino into a biodiversity champion, with membership at its base and driving force. Last 2017, 232 members and 6 affiliate members pledged their support. They joined tree planting, bird watching, the Fraser's Hill Bird Race in Malaysia, General Assembly, Haribon Meets You, and Haribon's 45th anniversary celebration. Member stories were also featured on the 45th anniversary edition of Haring Ibon. Haribon's Forests for Life movement aspires to restore the denuded Philippine forests by using native trees through rainforestation technology. Guidelines for the Rainforest Organizations and Advocates, or Road to 2020, now known as the Forests for Life movement, was finalized in September of 2017. It also won Best Local Environmental Project during the 2017 Energy Globe National Awards. 17,211 seedlings were produced and planted by Road to 2020 community partners in Rizal and San Pablo, Laguna. The sites now cover a total of 13.52 hectares of land, with the help of 1,017 volunteers from corporate and individual donors and supporters. Road to 2020 also appeared in an interview by Net25's Pambansang Almusal and DZRJ. The movement's site and community partners were also featured by Dr. Pasentia Malan in her resource book entitled Rainforestation: Paradigm Shift in Forest Restoration in the Philippines. The Buhay Punlaan Native Tree Nursery propagates native trees to support the Forests for Life movement. Buhay Punlaan serves as a living laboratory situated on a 2-hectare area in Calaraya Lumot Watershed in Lumban, Laguna. In 2017, 467 volunteers from 15 different corporations and organizations joined Buhay Punlaan nursery activities. A total of 7,000 native tree seedlings were produced and 3,973 native tree seedlings were sold. Buhay Punlaan facilities also underwent upgrades. 3 elevated seedling beds, 9 area signages, 18 flatbeds for bio-intensive gardening, and a vermicomposting area was constructed. The facility's main signage was repainted including funder logos, while the gates, fencing, and a recovery chamber were repaired. The Rainforest Restoration Initiative, or RFRI, is a network of organizations and individuals who take part in advancing rainforestation, or the use of native trees to bring back forest. With Haribon as convener in 2017, RFRI recruited the Energy Development Corporation, or EDC, to its roster of members, while the United Coconut Planters Bank Coconut Industry Investment Fund submitted their application for membership and became a probationary member. Meanwhile, a rainforestation training was held in Visayas State University and was attended by 3 local government units from Luzon. The network also developed drafts of 3 case studies highlighting experiences of partner communities in their implementation of the National Greening Program, or NGP. A workshop with Pandayang Ilustrador ng Talento at Advocacy, or PINTA, was also conducted to develop a 3rd issue of Rainforestation Comics. The network also participated in booth exhibits by its members' events and produced a new native tree poster. The Preventing Extinctions Program, Philippine Eagle, is aimed to improve understanding on the status and habitat needs of the magnificent Haring Ibon, one of the most threatened species in the world and the country's national bird. The program focuses on an important bird and biodiversity area in the Sierra Madre region, where 2 Haring Ibon nesting territories were identified. In line with the program, the Committee on Natural Resources of the House of Representatives held a committee meeting on December 2017 that tackled and agreed on House Bill, or HB 4375, where certain amendments to RA 9147, otherwise known as the Wildlife Conservation and Protection Act, were proposed. This included increasing fines and penalties from a minimum of 5,000 pesos to 300,000 pesos, and a maximum fine from 1 million pesos to 10 million pesos. This potential increase is aimed to deter potential law offenders from committing crimes against wildlife, and also includes a sustainability provision. The House also agreed on HB 5892 that proposed prohibiting certain activities related to the transport or possession of exotic animals to mitigate potential spread of disease. Haribon's fundraising efforts were strengthened with corporate social responsibility or CSR engagement expanded and institutionalized. Thanks to this, Haribon is now more responsive to the needs of its partners. Activities such as coastal cleanups, birdwatching, biodiversity on wheels, learning sessions, and buhay punlaan activities are now more accessible. The expansion of CSR served as an entry point where partners such as the Tourism Promotions Board can engage their employees and volunteers. By providing hands-on awareness-raising events, groups and organizations can promote eco-friendly lifestyles as well as eco-friendly operations in their organizations. With this expansion, about 1,803 volunteers were engaged, thanks to various corporations and donors from different sectors. Haribon soon exported its donor database using secure software from NetSuite, which enables easier sales tracking and monitoring, while a steady stream of donations were maintained by expanding online channels to Shopee.ph, Storm Benefits, and PayPal. In December 11, 2017, Haribon obtained its accreditation from the Philippine Council for NGO Certification to retain status as donee institution. As required in Haribon bylaws, accreditation by the Department of Science and Technology was obtained in June 2017. The Honda Foundation renewed its commitment to support Haribon's forest restoration projects far into 2020. The Honda Foundation is one of 70 corporate partners of Haribon in 2017. The Biodiversity on Wheels, or BAO, is a multimedia center and library rolled into one van. BAO visits schools and communities to teach Philippine biodiversity. In 2017, BAO visited 32 schools and 5 institutions in Metro Manila, Laguna, and Panay Island. It brought biodiversity education to 11,177 students and youth with the help of 445 volunteers. The program also created modules for high school students in Metro Manila and Panay Island. Haribon also signed a Memorandum of Agreement or MOA with the Department of Education both in Iloilo City and Iloilo Province, which will ensure integration in local education programs. Haribon also renewed its MOA with Central Philippine University for an additional 2 years. The Species of Hope or SOH Dulungan program targets threatened species to help restore the habitats in which they live, while ensuring that these species are able to survive and thrive alongside us. SOH conducted a population study on the Dulungan in Sabaste and Kulasi Antique and established 5 monitoring points for Dulungan observations. The program also trained 23 Eco Guardians composed of teachers and 30 Eco Rangers composed of students in 6 different schools in these communities. SOH also brought Biodiversity on Wheels to 843 students and 23 teachers in Antique. The restoration of mangrove forest in Infanta project aims to restore 3 hectares of mangrove forests in Barangay Dinahican in Quezon. The project promoted the survival of planted mangrove seedlings as well as the site's protection by local government units. Phase 3 of the project involved the goal of 3,500 mangroves planted, and Haribon, Maralitang Mangingisda ng Munting Sabang Association or MMMSA, the municipal government of Infanta, and Barangay Dinahican were able to exceed the target, planting 4,080 mangrove seedlings by August 2017. For the last 4 years, Haribon has identified 3 sites for monitoring threatened migratory species in the Philippines. The target species are the spoon-billed sandpiper, Chinese crested tern, and black-faced spoonbill, which are the priority species of the Arcadia BirdLife Conservation Partnership Fund. Though none of the target species were found so far, Haribon has been working with different government and non-government partners like the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR and other conservation groups to monitor these species in other sites. Last December 2017, local staff of DENR on Sabtang Island in Batanes reported sighting of 3 black-faced spoonbills, which were also confirmed by visiting birders. About 90 bird species were recorded along Manila Bay, numbering up to 177,000 birds. Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area, or La Papachea, has been one of Haribon's monitoring sites for migratory waterbirds for the last 4 years. 2 additional sites located in the western part of Pampanga and Bulacan are now being explored for further monitoring in the next season. The strengthening capacity of local conservation actors in managing the sub-watersheds of Nauhan Lake National Park or NLNP in Oriental Mindoro is a Haribon project funded by the United States Agency for International Development. It seeks to address the declining forest cover in the NLNP sub-watersheds by building the management capacities of local stakeholders. In 2017, an eco gallery showcased different conservation projects by students and teachers from 17 schools across 4 municipalities after learning about biodiversity conservation via trainings with Haribon. The gallery was celebrated by various leaders and representatives from the academe, government, and other sectors. Selected members from local government and people's organizations participated in Haribon's Biodiversity Fellows Program, or BFP. BFP is a mentoring program that is geared towards developing champions who will work towards conserving the sub-watersheds of NLNP. Finishers of the program will help craft forest land use plans and support forest protection enforcement. Smart Seas, short for Strengthening the Marine Protected Areas to Conserve Marine Key Biodiversity Areas in the Philippines, reached its 3rd year, funded by the Global Environmental Facility and the United Nations Development Program, with the Biodiversity Management Bureau of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. It strengthened the 16 assisted people's organizations in managing their marine protected areas. 6 local governments around Lanuza Bay endorsed the Lanuza Bay Environmental Management Plan. Ordinances on the comprehensive fisheries and aquatic resource management for the 6 local governments were also updated this year. Smart Seas is implanted by Haribon in Tandag City and the municipalities of Cortez, Lanuza, Carmen, Madrid, Cantilan, and Carrascal. 5 marine protected areas are now implementing biodiversity-friendly enterprises. Haribon also kicked off its new project funded by the European Union, which aims to strengthen the effective engagement of the public or non-state actors in forest monitoring, planning, and policy processes in the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. On its first year, the Forest Governance Project, or FOGO, focused on seeking endorsements from key government agencies in 3 project sites: Mount Siburan in Mindoro Occidental, Mount Irid Angelo in Quezon Province, and Mount Hilong Hilong in Surigao del Sur. Multi-stakeholder consultations were conducted among 4 municipalities to identify gaps in forest law enforcement and management. In all 3 sites, limited sustainable livelihood opportunities have been identified as the key driver of deforestation. While 18 participants received training on improving forest governance conducted by the Center for International Development and Training, or CIDT. Haribon continued to advocate for biodiversity conservation policies and national legislation. It campaigned for the enactment of the Forest Resources Bill while maintaining its membership in various networks in the environmental movement, such as Action Klima, Green Convergence, Green Thumb Coalition, and the Forest Resources Bill Network, as well as international networks such as BirdLife International and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. 2 new members were elected into the Board of Trustees, namely Icon de Jesus and Noel Resurrection during the 2017 General Assembly. 3 more were re-elected into the board: Father Jose Mario Francisco, Regina Jimenez Lopez, and Paul Andrew Tan. Haribon's communication and information campaign sought to raise awareness and inspire action on biodiversity conservation through various media channels. This year, Haribon made headlines on its various advocacy and fundraising campaigns, publishing 62 stories in 44 media outlets. Various conservation stories appeared in 9 programs in ANC, GMA, and CNN Philippines. 12 radio guestings featured Haribon's biointensive gardening, forest governance, bird conservation, and marine conservation. Haribon's website was reached by 44,000 unique visitors, while its official Facebook page increased by 5,000 followers in 2017, reaching 25,000 likes. To culminate 2017, Haribon celebrated its 45th year of conservation work, where it brought biodiversity knowledge from the field to the city. 1,000 people visited booths, workshops, storytelling, and even a quiz beyond the environment during the Bonifacio Global Cities Passion Fest in Metro Manila. Over 50 volunteers composed of members, as well as supporters new to environmental advocacy, helped design and set up exhibits, facilitate activities, and helped ensure that city dwellers were informed on various aspects of conservation. At the height of festivities, various artists graced the crowd with live music and love for the environment. During the concert, Haribon recognized Honda Foundation Incorporated with the award for helping restore over 28 hectares of Philippine rainforests for 8 years. At which point, Haribon launched its new logo, highlighting Haring Ibon, King of Birds, a nod to the first logo of the Haribon Society in 1972. It features subtle details of Philippine native trees at the crown of Haribon, down to the blue feathers hinting at various marine life, from ridge to reef. Coming full circle, a symbol of hands come together, inspiring harmony between humans and the environment. Even after 45 years of conservation work, 2017 was not without its challenges. But thanks to supporters from all walks of life and members and nature lovers like you, 2017 was an impactful year of important milestones.